And believe me, I did a lot of research on it. And according to all the research, it was way worse than that, anything I showed you.
If I put down exactly what happened, it's too hard to take. No, there have been a lot of obstacles thrown in the way.
Also, congratulations on your appointment by President Trump.
Yeah, well, you come with nothing, you go with nothing. Everything in between's just a bumpy adventure, right, Sean? I'm living in gratitude. Trump's, I found out I was some kind of ambassador at the same time as you did, probably on a tweet. So I was surprised, but hey, I'm ready, willing, and able to be of service in any way I can.
And how are we supposed to know the good guys from the bad guys? Well, we were given a standard by which to judge them. You know, by their fruits, you'll know them. By their fruits. Anybody seen any good fruit lately? No. It's tough. And look, I'm a pretty sinful guy. I mean, I'm as venal as the next guy. But I know the difference between a shepherd and a hireling. And I think that the vast majority of these...
Welcome back to All-Star Buzz. Thank you for joining us, and let's begin. Mel Gibson, known for his fearless demeanor and sharp critiques, has once again taken center stage. But this time, his target isn't Hollywood or political elites. It's The View. The actor and filmmaker has turned his attention to the daytime talk show, calling out what he claims is a hidden propaganda agenda buried beneath its lively banter. In a move that's already making waves, Gibson laid out a damning analysis of the show, labeling it a vehicle for divisive rhetoric and ideological manipulation. And while his words have sparked debates across the country, it was Sunny Hostin's explosive reaction that truly stole the spotlight.
I mean, with all this talk of building walls and stuff like that, I think it's worth remembering that if you look at the servicemen and the military in this country, a lot of them have names like Ramirez and Hernandez and Rodriguez. And just from my reading, and it's interesting that many of these men fight and die for their country, and women, and some of them don't even get their citizenship until after they're dead. So, you know, I think it's talk of walls and so forth is nonsensical.
Without hesitation, he zeroed in on The View, calling the long-running...
It all started during a podcast appearance where Gibson was asked about his thoughts on media bias and its influence on public opinion. Without hesitation, he zeroed in on The View, calling the long-running talk show a prime example of orchestrated narrative control. Gibson didn't mince words, accusing the show of strategically shaping conversations to align with a specific political agenda, while masquerading as a platform for diverse perspectives. According to him, the co-hosts, particularly Sunny Hostin, aren't just offering opinions. They're pushing carefully crafted talking points designed to manipulate viewers. They wrap it up in laughs and hot topics, but make no mistake, Gibson said, his tone unflinching. It's propaganda disguised as entertainment. They're not just having conversations. They're telling you what to think, how to feel, and who to hate. And they do it so subtly, most people don't even realize they're being played. Gibson went on to dissect specific moments from the show, highlighting what he called red flag rhetoric, aimed at vilifying those who don't align with their views. Gibson claimed that segments are often structured to present certain ideologies as virtuous, while ridiculing or demonizing opposing perspectives.
And everybody's got their crap, you know. But, like, this morning, for example, I would be surprised if my home is still there.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The Palisades is on fire.
Yeah.
My friend Tom Segura, his house is gone.
Yeah.
This is where he used to live. He sold it, luckily.
Yeah, I have a son. He's in the sort of volunteer fire brigade, Milo. I call him the mayor of Malibu. And he's running around. I asked him, how's things looking there, Milo? He says, not good, Pops. He says, your neighborhood. And he sent me a video of my neighborhood, and it's in flames. It looks like an inferno.
Yeah, we were just talking about the wildfire situation and how crazy it is that they spent $24 billion last year on the homeless.
Yeah.
And what did they spend on preventing these wildfires?
Zero.
Zip.
And in 2019, I think Newsom said, you know, I'm going to take care of the forests and maintain the forests and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. And then on top of that, they cut the water off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all funny. And then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel.
He also alleged that the show's production team collaborates closely with political operatives and media consultants to ensure their messaging aligns with broader narratives being pushed in the mainstream. The actor's critique struck a nerve with Sunny Hostin, who responded during a live broadcast of The View. Hostin, visibly agitated, dismissed Gibson's comments as conspiracy-laden nonsense and accused him of seeking relevance by attacking successful women. It's laughable that someone like Mel Gibson, with his history, thinks he has the moral high ground to lecture anyone about bias or propaganda? She snapped. Maybe he should focus on his own problems before coming for us. But Hostin didn't stop there. She launched into a fiery tirade, calling Gibson's remarks dangerous and irresponsible. This kind of rhetoric only fuels division, she said. What we do here is have honest, unfiltered conversations. If people like him can't handle that, maybe they're the ones with an agenda. Her outburst quickly became a trending topic, with viewers divided over who had the upper hand.
I just wanted to put a button on what I was saying. You know, there's a difference between free speech and hate speech, and we know that. Free speech, I welcome. I think everyone welcomes. It's your constitutional right. When you start delving into hate speech, which is what is happening all over social media, there's a problem with that. When you start delving into misinformation and disinformation, there's a problem with that. Meta's new hate speech guidelines permit users to call people in the LGBTQ plus community mentally ill. That is harmful. That is harmful. And the last thing I'll say is, let's just break it down to bare bones. This is about President-elect Trump going back to the White House. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta dined with Trump at Mar-a-Lago in November. Meta just donated $1 million to support his inauguration. Zuckerberg also elevated Joel Kaplan, the highest-ranking Meta executive closest to the Republican Party.
While some applauded Hostin for standing her ground, others criticized her for what they saw as a deflection rather than a rebuttal. Social media was ablaze with commentary, with hashtags like Mel Exposes, The View, and Sunny Meltdown dominating the discourse. Meanwhile, Gibson doubled down on his claims, releasing a follow-up statement that only intensified the controversy. Their reaction speaks volumes, he said. If they weren't guilty of what I'm accusing them of, they wouldn't be so defensive. The truth has a way of making people uncomfortable, especially when it shines a light on their hypocrisy, Gibson said. As the feud escalates, media experts are weighing in on the broader implications of his critique. Some argue that his comments highlight a legitimate concern about bias in mainstream media, particularly in programs that blur the line between entertainment and journalism. Others, however, dismiss his claims as a calculated attempt to stay relevant in a polarized cultural landscape. Hostin, for her part, has vowed not to back down. In a recent interview, she said she plans to address Gibson's accusations head-on in an upcoming episode of The View, promising to set the record straight and expose what she called his misogynistic agenda. Co-host Joy Behar also chimed in, sarcastically suggesting that Gibson's next move might be decoding secret messages in Disney movies. But Gibson's supporters argue that the co-host's reactions only prove his point. They can't handle being called out. One commentator wrote, "They've spent years dishing it out, but can't take even a shred of criticism without going off the rails." For now, the battle between Mel Gibson and The View rages on, with no signs of cooling down. Whether you see Gibson as a truth-teller or a provocateur, one thing is certain. His critique has ignited a firestorm of debate, forcing viewers to question the role of programs like The View in shaping public opinion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to this channel. More videos are coming out soon. See you on the next one.